Hi, this is Dr. Pierre Milo speaking again, narrating my book, Rising from the Ashes of Loss, My Voyage Through Grief, available at Amazon.com. Post number 28. Louise's CA 125 level goes up again. CA 125 for those who've ever dealt with cancer is a cancer marker. When they test it, if it goes up, that means that cancer has come back again. And if it goes up really fast, that means there's a real danger. So, in her case, after all these treatments, her CA 125 level has gone up again. Not a good news. After the end of the 10 sessions, of course, another test was required to evaluate the success of our effort. And yes, it again involved darn needles. Always needle. Poor Louise, I thought. I'll have to talk to the staff of the cancer center to try and see if they would have a solution that could help make life a little easier for her. I felt responsible for her well-being, and this stuff about the needles was making me edgy and resentful. Something would have to be done soon. As for me, regardless of the results, I had decided not to have more chelation treatment. So the rest was unnecessary. 50% reduction in Louise's heavy metal level was a result of the latest test. It was very encouraging. But Dr. R, after that chelation therapy we're talking about, thought that, although positive, more reduction was a must, and he suggested that Louise go through another round of thin treatment. Gosh, more needles. This came as bittersweet news for Louise, though who at this stage had not noticed any significant change in her energy level and seemed to be losing her positive attitude. Not good. The fact also that all these treatments were not covered by Medicare or by our private health insurance was adding to our already high stress level. This venture was getting more costly by the minute. $110 per treatment plus cost of testing and specialized natural medication was beginning to be a heavy burden on our wallets. Now, to top it off, we were considering adding 10 new treatments and one more test. Ouch. What the hell? We came this far, so we may as well go all the way. If this was to bring my baby back to life, no cost was too high. But before going ahead with the second round of treatments, another little disturbing situation had to be dealt with. Louise's cancer marker CA 125 level had gone up again, and a gynecologist wanted to see her to talk about more chemotherapy. What a downer. CA 125 is a tumor marker detected through blood tests. Again, more blood tests. When it goes down after treatment, it means that the tumor has shrunk. But when it goes back up again, it may mean that the cancer had come back. And it's not an encouraging perspective at this stage of the game. I know something about that. So here we go again. Back to the Ottawa Cancer Center to evaluate Louise's condition. And the thought of more chemo treatment was not on our agenda, trust me. After a short stay in the waiting room, we're invited by one of the attempting nurses to proceed to a private room inside the compound and wait for the specialist on duty. Louise was obviously stressed out and a little depressed. and I was impatient and apprehensive at the bad news to come. But we would never in the world have expected to be so shocked by what we were about to hear from Dr. F, the oncologist, one of the leading gynecologists in the department. Due to the fact that Louise's CA-125 level had increased, the recurrence of her cancer was suspected, of course. Therefore, more chemo was necessary. According to the up to now buddy, Mr. F, he strongly recommended that Louise go ahead with the treatment as soon as possible. I was just nauseated at the mere thought of this, and I can only imagine how Louise felt. Poor guy, poor Beryl. After spending some time explaining to us the ins and outs of the treatment, the kind of chemical they used, which was different from the first round of chemo, and the likelihood of side effects, he sat expectantly, waiting for us to give him the go-ahead to start the sessions. He was growing more impatient by the minute because of our reluctance to agree. We were considering postponing his treatment in favor of the alternative treatment. He then stood up suddenly, gathered his paperwork, and exhibiting an air of grandeur, as if we had just insulted him personally, hurriedly proceeded to walk out of the room. Suddenly, though, as if this unexpected behavior was not enough, adding insult to injury, he turned around while crossing the threshold of the door and said with a frustrated voice, "Well, make up your minds quickly before I lose your file in the system." How often does that happen? Even though we were completely taken aback by the poor display of professionalism, we decided not to give in to his undue and unfair pressure and to go ahead with the alternative treatment. Was it a mistake? Time will tell. As for Dr. F's disappointing behavior, well, I'll let you make up your minds. You think what you want. Soon after starting the chelation therapy sessions, we quickly realized that the non-invasive and non-aggressive natural treatment were too slow to kick in compared to the lightning speed at which Louise's cancer was progressing. Clear cell ovarian cancer is very aggressive, and the natural treatments could not keep up. Even the chelation, even the chemotherapy could not keep up. Nothing could keep up. And we learned that at the end, that clear cell ovarian cancer is almost a death sentence. Let's remember that. Mental note. Thinking back at times when I feel down, I wonder what motivated us to go ahead with either treatment, natural or chemical. Rationality is not always at the rendezvous when lives are threatened. Our survival instinct took over in those confusing times, and we somehow always seem to find the need to overcome the odds. What would an animal do when suffering from a deadly wound? Survive at all costs or lie down and die, realizing instinctively that its time has come. Maybe we should be more like them when we sense that our time may have come. Not give in to religious, family, or social pressures, but let go and face the end of our lives as it comes. In Louise's case, she surprisingly admitted towards the end of her ordeal that she was doing all this partly for me. She was doing this partly for me. All the needles, partly for me. God. That she wanted to wipe out the worried look. That she wanted to wipe out the worried look of pain that constantly haunted my eyes. Every time I looked at her, that she wanted to stick around a little longer to look after me. If only I would have known, I could have told her sooner that it was okay to go. I'll make it on my own, honey, even though I'll limp for a while. I'll somehow manage to survive. Go towards the light. Do your thing and stop worrying about me, please. I would have said that these worlds had yet to be offered.